Hello, Brobst. It's Alex here. I've not played in a ton of Survivor Online games. The only ones I've played in have been Ropes games, and in those games, I don't know if I've ever been as excited or as nervous as the moment last night when it was down to me and Daniel for that purple rock. The whole night was exciting. The luck was on my side, and I lived to fight another day in this game, and things are going to be interesting now. I guess I want to talk a little bit about the vote itself and forcing the tie, and then maybe about the dynamics with the people left in the game and where I think this can go from here. I didn't think a deadlock was even going to be something that was possible. I thought we had Heidi and that we probably had Daniel because he wouldn't want to force a tie for people who didn't want to keep him around, who had been throwing his name around forever, which you know is true, and I know is true. So I assume Daniel knew is true. I mean, sure, they're going to use him for his vote now, but what about the rest of the game? I'm feeling okay as we're leading up to the vote. Dave wins immunity, and this really sucks because I want Dave gone, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But whatever, we gotta move on to the next, and that means Rob's gotta go, unfortunately. Sorry, Rob. At this point, I hear from Heidi that they're going to vote for Shauna. And then Daniel stops answering me, which is a problem. Now I don't know what's going on. I'm starting to get nervous. I'm starting to think that, okay, this is actually going to happen, and we're going to tie 4-4. So going into this vote read, I'm expecting a tie, and all I know is that I am going to fight to the end to make sure this vote goes to a deadlock. You know me. I'm typically pretty quiet on public boards, and I'm certainly known to be quiet in tribal council. I'm not one of those people who's going to have a big show, is going to talk a lot, is going to draw attention on themselves. I'm not someone who's going to be aggressive in a public forum. And last night was a little different for me. I think that I talked enough in that tribal council to, add every other tribal council I've ever been in combined, and I've probably talked less than that. But it was so important to me to get my point across, which is that we have to stick together and we have to take a chance in taking control of the game from a numbers standpoint. I didn't care if the other side had a numbers advantage. I was going to hope luck was on my side, and if I went down swinging and if I went to the jury on a rock draw, then I went to the jury on a rock draw. I had to give it a go. And here's why. I meant it when I said this is not a tribe versus tribe game, and I don't have a super close relationship with Matt or Heidi. I do with Shauna to an extent, but still not in the way I had a relationship with Judd or Nalia or Rocky. It was something different, my relationship with them. It's just not the same thing. And I meant it when I said if I could form a bond with somebody on the other side, I would be willing to do something different and make something different happen. But here's the problem. Dave literally goes radio silence and stops talking to me, which, whatever, I don't like Dave anyway, and I never wanted to work with Dave because I don't trust him for a second. Then Rob starts talking to me less, which is funny because I'm starting to try to open up to Rob a little bit. I'm telling him about how I feel about the game, about how there are cracks, about how I want to make new friends and do something different, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, Sean is really opening up to him as well and trying to see if she can make something happen. Therein lies this problem. Because Shauna opens up to Rob. She opens up to Rob, she says something, and Rob immediately takes this information back to Matt. And Matt's the one that Rob says he doesn't like. And Rob's the one who says that we're not giving him anything, which is such bull. Because here's somebody else giving him information and saying, I want to take this guy on my side out down the road. And instead of being like, okay, let's make something happen, I also want to take him out. Rob just turns and rats her out to Matt. How is that being open to working with somebody on the other side? And then how can you complain when we're not giving you information? I don't know. I really, really don't know. But whatever it is that Matt thinks, Dave thinks, Rob, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm so worked up. This vote deadlocks, and at the point of deadlocks, I understand this situation with this tribal lines. And here's the problem. Because of the way these merges and these swaps have worked out, we have been on the same tribe as the same people for this entire game. So those are the people we've built bonds with and trust with, and those are the people that we want to work with. You can't form trust in a bond and want to work with somebody that you've talked to for 2 days, especially when that person is not talking to you, like in the case of Rob and in the case of Dave. I'll give Joanna that at least Joanna makes conversation, and she's wonderful at speaking, and even though she's not around a lot, she takes the time to write messages and make you feel like she's interested in you. Do I trust her? No, of course not, because I've known her for 2 days and we haven't had any real conversations. But I think she's smart and she's savvy and she's at least willing to talk, which puts Joanna above those boys in my book. Those boys, I literally got nothing from them over the course of 24 hours, especially Dave, who did not respond to a message I sent him on Wednesday night. I had to send him a second message during the voting period just to get anything from him. And that to me shows that they're not willing to work with us or even talk to us. So why am I going to vote with them in that circumstance? And then there's the situation of Daniel. I wasn't going to go to the end of the game with Daniel. I still think Daniel's a challenge threat and would have wanted him out sooner than later. But I really thought I did a good job building some bonds with Daniel when we were on Jabiru together, and I really thought that he was going to vote with us. I think maybe if the vote was Dave, he would have, but then again, I'm just so full of crap, and I think I don't know. I thought Daniel was this young, naive player who couldn't possibly be lying to me, and here he was playing me the whole time. You know, Dave tells me he wants to vote out Daniel, and I go to Daniel and I want to save him, and Daniel acts mad, and I just keep saying, there's no way this newbie is playing me right now, and I was wrong. So I trusted one person on the other side, one person who wasn't on my original tribe, and what did they do? He stabbed me in the back the second he got back to his old tribe. So how can I be expected to flip sides and leave my alliance that is proven to be loyal when the other side has proven that they don't want to work with us or even give us a chance? Old tribal alliance is turning into a real thing in this game, and I don't know how to get out from under it, and I don't know how to change it. But now that we've declared our undying loyalty to our side, being willing to draw rocks and take a chance on random luck, especially on my side where the numbers were clearly favoring, you know, the Jabiru original people to kind of take that home when they had less people in the draw. Matt, who I still don't trust 100%, and Heidi, who I really don't trust 100%, especially now that I know that she was talking to Jabiru the whole entire time and not telling anybody, and they were convinced she was voting with them. I mean, it's fine if she wants to play double agent, but let your allies know. She didn't let anybody know. And that raises some red flags with me and really makes me concerned about Heidi. But how concerned can I be when Heidi pulled a rock to keep Shauna safe and to keep our alliance in the numbers? How concerned can I be? These three people have proven their loyalty to this group, and we took a chance to give ourselves the numbers to make a run at this game, and that chance played off. Just like the other side took the same gamble and it just didn't pay off for them. As soon as they realize they've lost the numbers, suddenly Dave wants to talk to me. Suddenly Rob wants to talk to me. And Joanna's still talking to me because Joanna has at least been consistent throughout this game, which earns her points in my book, although I know it doesn't necessarily earn points in everybody else's book, but that's okay. The problem with Rob is Rob sends a message, woe is me, am I in trouble, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to vote you out, Rob. I want to vote out Dave. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this, but what else can I tell you? I wanted to open up to you with information, and before I could, I heard that you took information Shauna gave you and you ran it back to Matt. So I know you can't be trusted. I know that you don't want to work with me because look at what you've shown me so far in this game. But the second you're down in numbers, you're reaching out to me. But sure, that's the right thing to do. You should reach out to someone when you're down in numbers. Joanna's down in numbers and she's reaching out to me, but it doesn't seem as fake because she talked to me the whole time. And even with Rob, it seems a little less fake than it does with Dave. There's a reason why Dave was the most popular for thinks he's running the game and he's not. It's because he's cocky and he's arrogant and he breaks this cardinal sin in the game, which is ropes rule number whatever, not number 7, don't drink and play. But whatever rule number says, don't take any player in this game for granted, because that is all Dave did once we merged. We merged. He thought he had the numbers, so we said, okay, I have my numbers. I have Daniel, I have Heidi, and I have Rob and Joanna. It's going to be a 5-3 vote, and Shauna's going to go home. So I decided he didn't want to talk to me, because why would he? He's going to pagong us. He's just going to take us all out one by one by one by one. Except there's a problem in that didn't exactly work out how he planned, did it? He didn't have Heidi, and then he just didn't have luck. But I sent Dave a message on Wednesday that he didn't respond to. And then I sent him a message during the voting period, again, just to reach out to him. And that says something, that I'm thinking to do these things, because I know you don't take a player for granted. But the second you lost your advantage, Dave, the second you realize that you were in trouble and not in a good place in the game, what do? You You send me a message. Hey, Alex, I'm a free agent. Let's work together and build trust like we used to have in the past. Smiley face, smiley face. I'm not an idiot. And what kind of player would I be if I let somebody break that cardinal rule and ignore players that they thought were expendable and then turned around and they realized they weren't expendable and tried to get in their good graces? Who would I be if I didn't try and teach Dave a lesson by immediately voting him out after that? It only seems fair. Dave is still my #1 target. Problem is, Matt wants to vote out Rob, and, Matt wants to be in this position of power. I don't know what Heidi wants to do. I don't know what Shauna wants to do, per se, but I got to find a way to switch the vote on Dave. I don't know how. I don't know if it's playing up that he's a challenge threat, which Heidi had already said before we even merged, and he proved it in this circumstance, even though it wasn't really a speed-based challenge, and I don't think you can use a challenge like this to paint somebody as a challenge threat, but I'm certainly going to, because that seems like the best way to make sure that it's him and not Rob. Not that I trust Rob either, because he's given me no reason to trust him. So here we are, day 20 whatever, playing on old tribal lines because no one was willing to open up to anybody from the other side, and now it's almost like it's too late. It's certainly too late as far as I'm concerned in the case of Dave and Rob. There's nothing Dave can do that can change my mind about who he is as a player and where his loyalties lie. And I don't know if Rob can do something amazing and change something in the next day or so. Maybe he can. Maybe we get to a point where we don't just pick them off one by one, where we get to Final Five and suddenly we need one of them to make a move. All I know is the only people who have proven loyalty to me and trustworthiness are Matt, Shauna, and Heidi. To different extents. So all I can do is go with that now and see where we land. Anyway, my time is up, and I will talk to you soon, I guess.